Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Depends where in the world you are and when you're watching this episode. My name is Patrick Henz and I welcome you to Data-Driven Formula One. Normally, Genda Pogrevna and I, we are doing this episode jointly. Today, it's just me, and normally these are the episodes where we speak about one detail a little bit more al fondo, as you would say in Spanish, meaning we dig a little bit deeper. Today, we speak about Maria Teresa de Filippis. Maybe you saw some of our last episodes, Maserati from Formula One to Formula E, and Maria Teresa had been mostly aligned with Maserati. And let's delve into the topic. She was mostly aligned with Maserati, as already mentioned, and on this photo you see here in her Maserati 250F, a nice color photo. But let's start a little bit before she entered into Formula One. Maria Teresa de Filippis was an Italian racing driver and the first woman to race in Formula One. She participated in 5 championship Grand Prix, debuting on May 18, 1958, but scored no championship points. Through her Formula One racing career was brief. She won races in other series and she's remembered as a pioneer in the sport, especially an inspiration up to today for female drivers. Born November 11, 1926 in Naples, south of Italy, Campania, and died 2016, January 8, in Scanasosciate in Lombardy, meaning in the Milan area in the north of Italy. She drove for Maserati and also later had been enrolled bearer Porsche. So 3 officially entries at official Formula One Grand Prix races. So again, born November 1926 in Marigliano in Italy, the youngest of 5 children of an Italian count and a Spanish mother. Her father owned a 16th century palazzo in Naples, and this was called the Palazzo Bianco, Italian for White Palace, near Caserta area. So if you are in Naples, you may check out this building. Maybe you ask locals or use Google Maps, Google Earth, whatever. Still there up to today, you see Via El Grande Archivo. She was keen horse rider and a tennis player in her teenage years. At the age of 22, she began her racing career. 2 of her brothers told her that she would not be able to go very fast, goading her and making her bet that she would be slow. She won her first racing driving a Fiat 500, not the one you already know, the classic design, similar to the actual one, but the earlier, the predecessor, the Topolino, which you see here on the photo. She won this race at the Salerno Cavo dei Tirreni hill climb event. Here you have to know hill climb racing had been very popular in Europe in this time, 1950s, 1960s, up to 1970s. Manufacturers as Porsche and also Ferrari later, they created special race cars just for the hill climbing races. The special motors, special lightweight constructions. So really, here we are speaking about very popular events in the beginning of the second half of the century in last century in Europe. In 53 to 54, she started with an Oscar, an Italian manufacturer, 1100cc, in which she had been victorious at the 12 hours of Pescara, the Trullo de Oro, the Catania Etna, Caserta, and Syracuse. So really, we're speaking about a driver. Yes, she had come from a wealthy background where she could afford this Fiat 500. So she was already a part of the more wealthy Italians, especially if we consider we are living 1950s, quite shortly after the end of World War II. Not too rich, at least her family not invented that much. It's only a Fiat 500, but most of the population, the Fiat 500 was a dream car. Similar had been also valid, of course, in other European countries. Nevertheless, even though you have the background, if you have a car, you still need talent to win these races. I mean, 12 hours, we have to consider here, these are road races, and the roads have not been in the beginning of the 1950s like they are today. Together with Giuseppe Ruggiero, she achieved the sixth place at the hill climbing race Stella Alpine in August 1949. So again, 2 years after end of World War II in Europe. She went on to drive, sorry, a little bit more, some years ago, sorry. She went on to drive in the Italian Sports Car Championship, finishing second in the 1954 season. Seeing her potential, especially the victory at the 12 Hours of Pescara, Maserati brought her in as one of their works driver. And as I've mentioned, the roads had not been as they are today. So here are two original photos from her and her partner Giuseppe Ruggiero at this hill climb racing. So you see, this is the car, open road car, but two-seater, not one-seater as Formula One, for example. But please see the quality of the roads, the missing safety at the end of the road. I mean, if you would brake too last, you would practically fall down the mountains. Quite dirty. So if you think, yes, healthy background, woman, so she just wanted to participate for vanity reason. No, she had the talent, and it was really hard driving 12 hours, for example, as in other races, or participated hill climb racing. So here we are speaking about a real racer. The Filippis took part in various motor racing events, including hill climbing and endurance racing as the Targa Floria, the Mille Miglia, before being given the chance to drive in Formula One. She finished second in a sports car race supporting the 1956 Naples Grand Prix, driving a Maserati 200S, similar as we see here on the photo. Naples Grand Prix race based on Formula One regulations, but not part of the official agenda. You may say in 1950s there had been a high number of non-official Formula One races, maybe the same number as had been part of the official agenda. After the victory at Catania Etna, she said, "A powerful car in which I felt I could do anything," and I did. So really, she was uh, strongly aligned with Maserati. Maserati supported her also after her career, as for example, later she did some commercials, still in speaking here about like 20 years ago. And well, she supported Maserati, Maserati supported her, so really a very good combination. Fast forward now, 1957. This is the year where Juan Manuel Fangio won the driver's title in the Maserati 250F, as you see here on the photo, his fifth and final championship victory. After this, the team officially withdrew from the sport at the end of the year, but many of the cars remained being driven by privateers. This includes, for example, the Scuderia Sud America, Juan Manuel Fangio the year after, Ken Kavanagh, Joe Bonnier, Francesco Godia Sales, Maria Teresa de Filippis, Giorgio Scarlatti, Scuderia Centro Sud, André Tessou, Juan Manuel Fangio, with the Scuderia Sud America, sometimes just on his own, and Temple Will. If you're interested why Maserati left as a works team, please check out again our episode about Scuderia Officieri Maserati. De Filippis had a Formula One debut at the non-official Syracuse Grand Prix with a very good fifth position, one of the various non-official Formula One races, and based on various experienced drivers, one of the most dangerous races we had in the Formula One agenda. Here we are speaking about a race organized on public roads, a very long race, so similar as the originally Nürburgring race, very difficult to remember each curve, each braking points, and to do this very dangerous to drive on. On May 18, 1958, de Filippis was given the opportunity to enter the Monaco Grand Prix, the second round of the 1958 Formula One season, in one of the 250F. Exactly, we're speaking about chassis 2051, which have been made in 1954. So the car was already 4 years old at that time. Please consider this when we are speaking about her results. She was not driving up to day cars, and she was not even driving, I think, the best of the Maseratis, as her budget was limited. She was participating as a privateer, not being part of the smaller teams, but really on her own. So of course, the number of mechanics had been limited, spare parts limited. So she was not competing with the same materials than the works teams or the other private teams. So please consider this when we speak about her results. Of the 31 entrants, only half set a time good enough to qualify, with de Filippis missing out alongside fellow debutant and future Formula One management and Formula One administration president Bernie Ecclestone. De Filippis' time of 1:58 was around 5.8 seconds behind the qualifying time of the fastest 16, which included future world champion Mike Horton, Jack Brabham, and Graham Hill in his first race. Fangio gave de Filippis plenty of advice during the season. In a 2006 interview, she recalled that Fangio told her, "You go too fast, you take too many risks." In 1958, Belgian Grand Prix allowed all drivers to compete with no cut-off for qualifying time. De Filippis qualified in 19th place, nearly 34 seconds off Tony Brooks' pole position time and only ahead of a mechanically hindered Ken Kavanagh. Although she was lapped twice in the 24-lap race, she managed to finish, which is a good goal. Spa, also very dangerous race. I had the pleasure to drive there a little bit because it was a part of the public road. So when you're there, you without any kind of limitation, you drive on Spa-Francorchamps, you get a good impression how dangerous, how demanding this racetrack really is. At the following race, the French Grand Prix at Rangers at July 6, 1958, de Filippis was not allowed to compete. Please take care. She claimed in a 2006 interview that the French race director said, "The only helmet a woman should wear is the one at the hairdressers," and that he prevented her from taking part. So practically, she was not allowed because she was a woman. And yes, this had been reality in Europe 1950. Then de Filippis had a poor result at the 1958 Portuguese Grand Prix in August. She qualified in last place, more than 15 seconds slower than the car ahead of her, and only lasted 6 laps before her engine failed. September 7, 1958, she started at a home Grand Prix at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza from the last place, but she started. She completed 57 of the 7 laps before having to retire with engine problems. Again, very old car, very small team, supporting with maintenance, repairs, etc. Please consider this. As the 14th and final retirement out of 21, she could be classified as finishing 8. So officially 8th position at a home Grand Prix, Monza, not a too bad result. Here you see the photo is from this Grand Prix 58 Monza. You see this had been the reality, how you drove, no helmet, at least no closed helmet, no fire resistant overalls. So 1950s. Next year, de Filippis joined the Bera Porsche as car team for the 1959, but again failed to qualify at the Monaco Grand Prix. The time was 1:47.8, was 3 seconds off the lowest qualifying pace and a further 1 second behind teammate Wolfgang von Trips. It was her final attempt at Grand Prix qualification, so she was still active in motor racing. Also, you have here to know at 1950s, it was quite common, especially for the smaller teams, that you have one driver where you focus on your number one driver, and the other one was often a paid driver, supporting with the costs for the team, but also supporting with the costs, paying the salary for your number one driver. And the cars, they had been on the same technical level, so we can 100% be sure that Wolfgang von Trips had a better car than her, even though, of course, we also want to point out that Wolfgang von Trips was a very talented driver, maybe could have won a championship title, but then he had his tragic fatal accident. If you want to know more about his fascinating life and career, please check out our data-driven episode about Wolfgang von Trips. 1958 was a tragic year in Formula One with the death of several drivers. Porsche team leader Jean Berra died in a racing accident on August 1951, 1st of August, while driving in the sports car support race for the 59 German Grand Prix at the AVO. So not directly in the Grand Prix itself, but in the supporting event. De Filippis was supposed to drive at that event and was devastated by death of several friends during of her time in sport, especially of Jean Berra. She left the circuit and turned her back on motor racing for 20 years. There are some rumors around that Jean Berra and her had been emotionally involved, or saying a couple. I, as far as I investigated, I cannot come to this conclusion, but I can more imagine. We are speaking about the 1950s. You see what happened to her at the French Grand Prix. So I think it was a quite common rumor that if there had been a woman successful in sports like motorsports, male-dominated sports, or successful in business, that of course this success had been related uh, to the support of a male sponsor, to which that woman had been emotionally involved, or better said, which she has been the wife, the amante, the secret girlfriend, to etc. etc. So I mean, again, we are quite male-dominated culture. So I think there always had been these rumors if a woman had been successful. So I cannot confirm that there had been this relation between her and Jean Berra. Around 1960, she married the Austrian chemist Theodor Huschek and started a family, having one daughter. She kept away from all forms of motor racing until 1979, when she joined the International Club of Former F1 Grand Prix Drivers, going on to take the role of a vice president in in 1997. She was also a founding member of the Maserati Club in 2004 and went on to become its chairperson. As I said, she was really very much aligned. She highly appreciated all the support opportunities she received from Maserati. So that's why she would have been a natural and logical chairman for its club. She died January 26 in the high age of 89 years. Speaking a little bit about her legacy, again, here you see a photo of her in Carmen Fiat from 1949. So really a pioneer. Shortly after the end of World War IV, big parts of the country still not have been restored. And you see here in this car, and again, there have been no electronic supports. It was driving such cars on the limit was really something where you needed dedication, passion, and talent. She was a pioneer in motor racing, a sport dominated by men, and no women would race in Formula One for further 15 years. Then it was Italian Lella Lombardi who competed between 74 and 76. If you're interested in her, we also already did a special episode because she was the first and unfortunately the only woman so far scoring points in Formula One, and but not even 1 point, half of a point. Why half of a point? Check out her episode. I guarantee you, very interesting. Some last quotes. I was either courageous or reckless or foolhardy. Call it what you want. I just like to go at full speed, and I think this is the important part. Follow your passion. I've been inspired by many people in my life, but only one type of car, Maserati. In it, I felt absolutely fearless. For me, the feeling of driving a Maserati has been one of the most constant sources of pleasure in my life. And I have no doubt that it will be for you too. So this is something which she says theater. She was something like a brand ambassador. And you find also a Maserati commercial with her. I think it's still on YouTube. If I find it, I will put link in the description of this video so you can also check it out. On the photo, you see some of the latest Maserati developments. The 2020 Maserati MC20, not exactly sure how much it costs, but I think something between 300 and 400,000 euro or dollar. Yes, I saw this car in person, and really looks cool. Okay, that's all for this episode. Please subscribe if you like it. Also, of course, you're invited to directly like it on YouTube. With the videos, we are YouTube Music, and Spotify. On all other platforms, we are with the audio-only versions. If you like music, please check out on Spotify our data-driven F1 mixtape, where we have a collection of songs which had been inspired to the various drivers and the sports in general. So if you have Spotify, give it a try. That's all for today, and hope you liked it, and see you next time. Bye bye.